This is the all-new Range Rover Evoque Convertible, the world's first luxury SUV drop top, which technically speaking makes it the world's best luxury SUV drop top. But is it actually any good, either as an SUV or a convertible? Well, we've come here to the French Alps to find out. Niche vehicles are all the rage in the luxury market these days, but the Evoque Convertible is taking it to extremes. The British brand was already on its own with the three-door Evoque Coupe, but the new soft top takes it even further. But SUV sales are continuing to boom with no signs of slowing down, so the decision to add a convertible option gives Range Rover a unique selling point over its rivals. But this isn't all about selling loads more cars. It's more about establishing Range Rover and the Evoque as style leaders in the compact premium SUV segment. And it certainly looks the part. Even with the roof up, the new Evoque cuts a stylish silhouette. But when you stow the fabric lid, which takes just 18 seconds and can be done at up to 40 kilometers an hour, it takes on a look that no SUV rival can compete with. Understanding this isn't for everyone, Range Rover has opted for a top-heavy lineup with only two highly spec'd trim levels, SE Dynamic and HSE Dynamic. Buyers will be able to choose from either a 177 kilowatt turbocharged petrol engine or the new Ingenium 2-litre turbo diesel. None will come cheap, with prices for the range starting at just over $84,000 for the SE Dynamic diesel and stretching all the way to more than $92,000 for the petrol-powered HSE Dynamic. And the open-air motoring comes at another price: weight. In order to keep the Evoque Convertible from flexing without a roof to hold it in place, the Range Rover engineers have had to add around 200 kilos of additional bracing under the body. Now that extra mass means you do notice that it is a bigger, heavier car than its hardtop siblings, particularly when it comes to the corners. When you come to the brakes, it just takes that little bit longer to pull up. The other change mechanically is the suspension has been stiffened slightly. The springs are a little bit firmer in order to keep that extra mass in check, which means you do notice it does jar a little bit harder over bumps like that. But aside from that, probably the biggest surprise about this convertible Evoque is the fact that it drives like an Evoque. It doesn't feel significantly different. Of course, adding weight doesn't improve the performance, and this diesel version I've been driving today takes about just over 10 seconds to do the 0 to 100. But it actually performs pretty admirably given its role as a convertible. The performance is never underwhelming. It's got pretty good pull-in power from down low in the rev range, so when you're looking for a bit of acceleration punch, it's there, ready to call on. In fact, the biggest surprise about the Evoque Convertible is just how much it drives like the hardtop versions. It doesn't feel soft and jiggly like you expect in a lot of convertibles, particularly an SUV. And that's actually the trick to this car. All that additional bracing comes into its own when the Evoque gets off-road. Because at the end of the day, this is a Range Rover, and the fact that it's a Range Rover means it needs to be capable off-road. Now, we've put it through some pretty tough tests today, and it's held up remarkably well. This thing is actually a perfectly capable SUV. You really can get it out in the forest, or as we are today, out in the snow, without any worry that it's going to get stuck. At the end of the day though, the overwhelming characteristic of this car is how good it is as a convertible. You've got to put aside the fact that it is an SUV and think about it against its soft top rivals, the ones from BMW and Mercedes. Just like them, it's loaded with luxury. You can take the roof off and have some open air motoring. You put the roof up and it feels like a pretty sophisticated luxury car. It just does everything you expect a convertible to do. So, what's the verdict? Is this genre-defining SUV convertible actually any good? Well, surprisingly, yes. Sure, it's more expensive and it's less practical than its hardtop sibling, but convertibles have never been about making the rational choice. But as you can see, it's still an incredibly capable SUV, but with a style that no other convertible can match. It really is a very good car.